I want to start by acknowledging again Mike King for his uplifting message about purpose, about acts of service and about giving back. Mike's a gentleman's gentleman. This was not actually his first ever gig at our conference. Nearly 15 years ago, when I was the incumbent workplace savings chairman, we got him to do some stand-up, I think here at this hotel. On the way in with him, I nudged him in the ribs and said, "Hey, bro, we have firemen here, police, member-elected trustees, some of whom have climbed down off a fork truck, quite literally, and they're here for a knees up. So bust out your filthiest, most un-PC jokes and just let it rip." And he obliged. I think I've yet to be forgiven by certain clergy and members of the Wellington and Auckland gentry. But he's too hard on himself. He spoke beautifully of his amazing wife even then, left us all uplifted by laughter, and remains the only entertainer who ever took the time to send me a thank you note the following morning. So araha nui, Mike. Then I got wistful thinking about that conference. The employers and the trustees that were sitting there at the ready for all those off-colour jokes are not present here today in anything like the same numbers. So let's find a way to change that next year. Involve the people and culture teams and others from the big employers who we know are such passionate proponents of wellness initiatives like paying KiwiSaver and Super over the odds, premium free or group discounted medical and life insurance and so forth, and celebrate a champion with an award at our next dinner, as a delegate has suggested today on our app, which prompts me to say thank you all so much for your feedback. We'll take it into consideration. Anyway, what a wonderful, upful couple of days and what exciting times. It's impossible to attempt a whistle-stop tour here, so I'll just single out a couple of honourable mentions in keeping with the theme of the presentation I just missed when I threw this farewell together. We've talked a lot recently about the remarkably collaborative working environment in New Zealand as between a regulator which stands ready to embrace innovation and providers with really exciting initiatives. And I saw a great case study just this morning at breakfast. A regulator, a provider and a lawyer walked into a breakfast, which sounds like the opening line to a joke, but they were co-presenting with policymakers from MB, who were there too, and they were all ears, on the development of a cross-border funds regime for the Asia-Pacific region based on a concept of a manager licence that's portable and modelled on a European regime. In practical terms, it will enable New Zealand managed funds, which are registered in New Zealand as passport funds, to offer their products through third-party distribution channels into the major investment markets of Japan, Korea and Thailand. And FMA and FSC are working together on related threshold issues, such as plugging into those distribution channels. FMA are encouraging applications. The initiative looks well placed to gather both momentum and wider country participation. But the point I want to make is it struck me as just a fantastic example of cross-disciplinary collaboration in action, and it's really commendable. New Zealand is leading this initiative. It's first out of the blocks, and Hugh Stevens of Smartshares, I think, nailed the why. We're small, we're nimble, and we can literally and figuratively get an entire industry, regulators, providers, advisors, and the lead industry body into one room, and relatively speaking, turn on a dime, and that's our genius. Another discussion I wanted to call out is the fantastic panel discussion today on diversity, leadership and change, championing the power of diversity in making the waka go faster, the inclusion of different voices, both in the C-suite and in the trenches. It was so instructive to hear those two adjectives, diversity and inclusion, joined together as a couplet, with the latter being paramount. It was great also to be reminded in large measure that our industry is actually an exemplar of inclusion, but we are, and I've said this before, conferencing here in the largest Polynesian city in the world. And, well, let's not get too self-congratulatory. Inclusion means a little more than just well-meaning bilingualism. That said, another discussion today brought home just how very much it is the case that with the best will in the world, good things will always take time. It was the debate as to whether the government should intervene in ensuring suitable decumulation opportunities are available to retirees. This is such a long-standing debate. I vividly remember even the arch non-interventionists, Mrs. Littlewood and Chamberlain, who are fantastic contributors to our industry, advocating for a government annuity corporation when I still had an afro. Look, it was a spirited debate and I took copious notes, but in essence, KiwiSaver will have hit its teens when we next convene in 2020, and I've been attending these conferences for 25 years and counting, and for more than half that time, I've heard similar debates. Can I just say perfection is sometimes the enemy of progress, and the debate feels analogous in that sense to the debate about how we're still treating default KiwiSaver members. As I see it, as KiwiSaver matures, a cash and bonds focused default, which has proven long term whether we like it or not, and having an exclusively savings habit and accumulation focused principal statute can validly, which of course just means debatably, be characterised as equally balmy. Look, we've heard at regular intervals during this conference about the worldwide crisis of trust that has impacted this sector specifically, and that restoring trust starts with us. Thank you for trusting us with your full attention over the course of 2 business days, and for staying the course today. It's been another day of tremendously valuable and selfless sharing of business case studies, industry insights, and personal journeys. Thank you to Richard, Heidi, David, Angus, all at FSC, and our incredible conference committee. As David urged earlier, let's get out there and lead loudly, and of course leave loudly. We look forward to seeing you again next year. Kia ora rawa atu, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.